Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, one of the things that we've actually been looking at is we've actually been in business now on YouTube, if that's the right way to put it. We've actually been operating a channel on YouTube for just over a year. And I'm looking back over that year at one of the most privileged parts of doing what we do, and that is that we have met some incredible people that have showed up here at our house, and we have given them a place to stay. Not always, but mostly they've come and they've stayed in our guest house. Now, we had Oni came, and he was from a mid-European background, but had moved I think as a child, had moved to America, so he came over a full-blown American. He was religious, had his own opinions about all things religious, didn't always go down well with everybody, but one thing that was amazing about him, as has been amazing about all of the people that we have met, he was incredibly generous. Just incredibly generous. We took round so much food to people. He wouldn't accept any acknowledgement. He said, "Thank God, not me. I am." In other words, he was simply passing on his blessings. We were blessed to receive such a generous man to come and stay with us and share his blessings so that we could do the same. And he helped so many people. It was a pleasure and an honor to meet him. So we also had, and I'm not going in any particular order, but we also had Martin from Scotland. And Martin was just a hands-on kind of guy, just came in and helped. He stayed in our guest house. He took everything exactly as it was. We didn't put on any airs and graces. We don't actually with anybody. It's just us. This is how we are. He came. He just fitted in. He went everywhere with us. We were traveling in the Little Red at that time, and we had some hairy times in the Little Red when we had to deliver materials to what we called the little house in the mountains, or the house in the hills, or something like that. It's a tiny house on a very steep hill, and he was there prepared to get himself dirty and help, which is what he did. So Martin, again, an honor and a pleasure, and we look forward to seeing you again, as with all of our guests. But I'm going to be saying that, repeating myself, as I do. We had Darryl. Well, Darryl is easy to remember because we saw him today. Darryl is quiet, studious, intense, determined to create a change in one particular life, which is the life of Michael. And we're hoping that Michael, the diabetic boy who we saw today and took video of today, will heed the advice and the knowledge that our friend Darryl, who actually only lives in Cebu, but he came over just for the day today, and he came over and he gave money, as he's always done, so that the family of Michael can get what they need in order to sustain the recovery that we have seen Michael enjoy in the last week. And we're honored also yet again to have met a man of the quality of Darryl. Darryl, thank you. Who else have we got? Johnny Peanut. What can we say about Johnny Peanut? Johnny, you're a peanut. Johnny just came in and who is just a member of the family. I mean, as most of these guys, but Johnny had an easy way of being, and everyone was comfortable. And you know what? One of the kids who I would never ever expected, when Johnny was leaving, one of the kids that is in our lives said, "I'm gonna miss you." Johnny, I don't know whether you realize what a compliment that was. That was the boy that you kept showing boxing and stuff like that, and you just spent time with him, and it touched a chord with him, as your company did with all of us. So get back here, okay? Johnny, it was an honor to meet you too, and we hope that you will come back again, as with all of our guests. So who else? Brian Smith is an ice cream man from America, and he came over here, and I'd met Brian online, and we'd exchanged a lot of messages and got to know each other online. Well, he's bringing over a lot of his own tools, like a lot of expats that come over now. If they've already met the love of their life, which Brian had, then they make a better choice than I did. I came over with a suitcase, I think a suitcase and a backpack, and that was it. A spare pair of shoes was about as much as I had, and I've worn them out. So anyway, Brian is much more organized on that, and we talked about it online, and I suggested to him that he should think about sending his stuff over here before he actually gets here, so that it's ready when he gets here, because getting over here and then waiting for a box to arrive, or a container or anything like that, can get very tedious. So we extended to him the courtesy of, we said, if you need to send something now, you can send it to our address, and that's what he did. So I think we have 5 or 6, or it might even be 7 boxes of his right now, and we just found out he is a current guy to talk about, because we've just found out that he's coming tomorrow. So we're going to be down in Itafi waiting to meet Brian yet again, and happily to do so. Brian was very, as with all of our guests, incredibly caring about what he saw when he came. He came and he stayed with us. For some of the time he stayed with us. For some of the time he stayed down in Taliban, in a hotel down there, because it was more convenient when his girlfriend was here. And so, but while he was there, he saw that we were, that because of the generosity of other people who we haven't actually met, but wanted to help Rado, my brother-in-law, Beth's brother, who has a pretty hard life, is an incredibly hard worker, but has a disabled son, and because of the kindness of some of the subscribers that we have, was able to get a motorcycle. Well, Brian stepped in and said, what's it going to cost to get a tricycle sidecar fitted to that bike, so that when Rado actually needs to take his son to a hospital for checkups and so on, he would be able to do that. And we found out how much it was, and Brian paid for it, for which we are so very, very grateful. Brian, you're always welcome in our home, and we'll see you tomorrow, okay? So, we've got other people that we met. Mitch, who we enjoyed some great visits to people in need, to people, well, to youngsters who were in the Village of Hope, and we had some great visits, a couple of great visits with Mitch, and he went to the village and gave the kids there incredible treat. Pleasure to meet you, and we're now looking with interest at all that you are doing on that piece of land that you now have ownership of, be it through a Filipina. So, last but very much not least is Dwayne. And Dwayne is staying with us right now, and at the risk of embarrassing him, this is one incredible adventurer. He actually lives in Antarctica, right as far as south as you can get, and he's shown us some videos which I don't think that we have actually been able to show you those videos, although he has said that he'll be quite happy for us to do that, and of course we'll give him the credit. The credit will be his for those videos that he took while he was on his job down there. Now he's here for a limited amount of time and then he goes back again, and unlike myself, who can't stand being cold, he has adjusted to that way of life and finds that sense of adventure is being fulfilled. And he's described his job on a really excellent interview, one of the best interviews that we've done, because Brian knows his work, he knows his job, has several really interesting coincidences that align with myself. He went into the army when he was very young, actually 17. I went in when I was 15 and a half, so we both went in really as boys. He served 7 years, I served 8.5. He lived in Scotland. I served in a Scottish regiment. He is of Scottish background, I'm of Irish background, but there are very, very similar things that we've enjoyed, and it's been a huge, interesting thing to be able to share with him his experiences in Antarctica. And if you haven't already seen that interview, I urge you to do that, because it's extremely educational from a first-hand eyewitness account of what it's like to live on a block of ice, and that's what he does. He lives in his normal working everyday life. He lives in an environment that is so cold that if he took his glove off and held his hand out for even 5 minutes, he would lose his fingers through frostbite. And I think that that's one heck of an adventure, and one heck of an adventurer that we are privileged to be having stay as our guest. Also, the other thing is, absolutely down-to-earth man, with no delusions of grandeur, no look how good I am to be doing what I'm doing. Just share what he knows in a humble way, and is a pleasure to know he too has become a member of the family, and we're very delighted to have him with us. So that's a little talk and a little description of some of the people that we have been honoured to have stay with us, and we hope that the quality of our guests, could it possibly be maintained to be the same as those that we have already met. Boy, that's going to be quite a thing, because they raise the bar so high. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Thanks for looking in. Bye for now.